thanks for joining us here on YouTube and on 9 News Watch for a detailed look at your Colorado weather forecast. I'm meteorologist Chris Bianchi, and I'll tell you what, I'll cut straight to the chase. It is going to be sunny. It is going to be pretty nice here really for the next few days, which I'll admit makes me slightly terrified of what might happen when this inevitably all ends. But you know what? Take it while you got it. Live for the moment, right? Next 6-7 days look absolutely gorgeous for us here in the state of Colorado. In fact, you look outside, and it's a little bit of a misleading sunshine. You know, you go outside and you see that, and you go, whoa, it's probably beautiful and warm. Well, not really so warm for your day today. It's mainly been in the 50s for us here in Denver. We'll warm up into the low 60s, but that's actually seasonable for this time of year. We're normally in the low 60s, and that's exactly where we'll be. We'll warm above that by the time we get into your Thursday. Winds, I know for us in northeastern Colorado, it's been a little bit blustery so far today. Denver, we had that wind yesterday. Tomorrow, we'll see those winds really kind of back off. In fact, many of us here in the northeastern plains will see those winds taper off later on today. And then the rest of the week, it is quiet. That'll last through the upcoming weekend. Enjoy it here, folks, because it looks absolutely beautiful out there. Now, I wish we had some rain in the forecast because, well, since September the 1st in Denver, we've seen barely a third of an inch of rainfall total since September the 1st. That makes it our 15th driest start to fall on record. And if you're a bit of a weather weenie, you might know that our summer was the 9th driest summer on record for us here into the Denver area. So long story short, going back to early June, remember we had all that rain, all that snow back during the spring, then that just completely shut off. Since June the 1st, we've seen less than 2 inches of total precipitation. And if that continues, by the way, until next week, if we don't get any measurable rainfall, which looks likely into next week, that'll be our driest early June through late October on record here in Denver. So we really are starting to get to the point where we pretty desperately need that rainfall. Unfortunately, I'll go through some chances. Next week, especially the end of it, looks a little busier, but for us here along the Front Range, eastern Colorado, no real significant rain or snow chances in sight. Now, what we do have in sight, much cooler temperatures for us along the eastern plains. Look at those temperature drops over the last 24 hours. That cold front rolled through much of Colorado back on your Tuesday and earlier on this morning for us into southeastern Colorado. That's why you're seeing the big drops out there. Now, forecast highs for today, a lot of 60s. This is, again, pretty seasonable stuff for this time of year. It might feel much cooler because it's been so warm here for the last little while. That, again, what you're looking at here on your map, this is pretty close to where we should be for the mid to end part of the month of October. But you know what, if you ask me, it's some pretty glorious fall weather. Still looking at some pretty gusty winds, I mentioned, in the northeastern Colorado. A few of us getting those wind gusts up to 30 miles an hour. Not a huge deal, at least not compared to yesterday when it was really, really blustery. In some cases, we were talking about 50-plus mile-an-hour winds. It's still a little bit blustery out here, but it's just, again, not as windy as what we saw yesterday. That said, those winds, they will back on off tonight and into tomorrow for us, and those winds will not be an issue for your day tomorrow and through your Friday anywhere across the state. Now, tonight for us here into Denver, it's a bit chilly, but again, this is seasonable stuff. By the way, forgot to mention this. This morning, Denver, we got down to 26 degrees. That made it our coldest temperature since April the 22nd. Again, 26 degrees, mid to late October. Nothing that unusual about that, but you might have noticed this morning that a lot of us, I certainly had to clear off frost off my windshield for the first time in the this winter season, or at least this fall winter season, whatever you term it. But first time in a few months that we've had to deal with temperatures this cool. Tomorrow morning, not nearly as bad. Again, those temps drop back into the low 30s. And by the way, for us into Yuma County, if you're joining us from Ray in that part of the state, we are looking at those lows in the upper 20s tonight. So cover up that tender vegetation. Growing season is coming to a close. It already has, I know, closed for many of us, but again, freeze watch for friends out there in the Yuma County and far eastern reaches of the state. State to state, border to border, though, we are looking pretty calm until tomorrow morning. We do see a little bit of cloud cover work its way on into the northwestern part of the state. Not a big deal. Don't worry about this. We're not talking about any sort of precipitation here from the system. In fact, statewide, I don't see a drop of rain or a flake of snow until the end of this upcoming weekend. I'll get more on that here in just a second. Meantime, as we get into your day tomorrow, upper 60s, low 70s. Forget that Fort Collins and Greeley. There's a little computer issue with that, but you'll be in the upper 60s, low 70s for friends in DeWeld and Larimer counties. Again, a lot of 60s and 70s for us in the Eastern Plains Mountains, and a lot of 50s for us out here. Closer look in, again, disregard those Greeley, Fort Collins numbers. We're looking at a lot of 60s and low 70s, 70 in Brighton, 68 Aurora, and I think Denver at the airport and downtown, 69 degrees. So glorious for us here as we get through your day. on your Thursday, October the 21st. This is a little bit above average for this time of year. All right, let's get into that 7-day forecast and break down what we could be looking at here as we head through the next little while. Maybe any possible rain chances because, again, we certainly do need a little bit of that moisture here into Colorado. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, nothing really. Maybe a weak little system. That's why you might see a little bit of added cloud cover Saturday night into Sunday. May see a weak little system drop on through the weekend. At this point, it looks like if we see any moisture, it'd be in the mountains. And even up there, it looks like the majority of that stays off to our west and our north. Now, what happens on Sunday and Monday, maybe, again, if you're a weather weenie, you may be keeping an eye on this. It looks like California is going to get rocked by a lot of rain and snow Sunday and Monday. It's on Tuesday and Wednesday where we see some of that energy from that system kind of glance us here into Colorado. Now, Denver, eastern Colorado, unfortunately, it looks like the majority of that moisture will stay up into the mountains and to our north. But we could see a bit of snow for us into the mountains, and B, not a lot, not like what we saw early and mid last week, but we'll take a few more inches of snow, something maybe similar to what we saw earlier on this week into the mountains, a couple of inches of snow, especially, again, I-70 on north. And then B, another thing to keep in mind is this is the time of year when California tends to get a lot of their biggest wildfires. The fall is often the biggest wildfire season for the Golden State of California. And again, it's just due to offshore winds. It's due to kind of some weird weather patterns that take place this time of year out there, at least weird for what we would consider. Long story short, if we get that big rain, mountain snow in California as expected, that'll shut off the fire season almost for sure out there. And that means we will not have to worry about any smoke really working its way on through our part of the state here for the next, hopefully, few months and hopefully beyond that. So, again, I know we haven't seen wildfire smoke from California in a few weeks, maybe even a few months at this point, maybe a month plus at this point. Again, we won't have to worry about that after this weekend because, again, we're going to see a big rain, big snow event in California. And we'll see a little bit of that moisture kind of glances here Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Some of the models still in disagreement on that. But, again, it does look like California is going to get some needed moisture. We're certainly happy for them about that. And, again, for us here in Colorado, that means we're very unlikely to get any more smoke from that part of the country anytime soon. So that is great news, and hopefully we get some of that moisture in here. It does look a little busier towards the end of next week and maybe next weekend, which would be, by the way, Halloween weekend. So detailed look at your Colorado weather forecast. I could blab about this all day. I think you've had enough. Thanks for joining us here on 9 News Watch and on 9 News YouTube. I'm Meteorologist Chris Bianchi.